Hello, my name is Dr. James Webb, and I want to go over with you a little bit about alignment when working on your dissertation. There's a big problem that some researchers have in the way of alignment because they're saying one thing, but then when they get down to the purpose, they're saying something completely different. And then the research question is entirely different on top of all those. The and don't forget the question, whatever that title is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a quick little video which kind of help you to help guide you through the process of making sure that you keep this alignment with all four of these components. It's very important. It's critical. First of all, okay, problem, purpose, research question, and title. Proper alignment. I'm going to use a matrix that's what you see on the screen here, or a builder tool to kind of help you to work on all this. I highly recommend you first start off with a research question, because with the research question, everything else is going to be built off of that. Because first you came up with some type of problem or some type of topic that you wanted to do your research on, but it's going to be centered around answering this research question. So, first of all, you're just going to trust me on this when I say start off with the words "what are the." You can make changes later, but start off doing your draft this way. Start off by saying what are the, and then whatever it is that you're trying to resolve. As far as what that verb is, either what are the strategies, what are the skills, what are the standards, what are the algorithms. What are the, and then who it is what the audience is that you're going to be using as your participants. Like, what are the skills big data analysts need? So you'll start off with what are the, whatever the verb will say. Then the audience, who it is, need to, what it is they need to do to improve something, to change, evaluate, establish. Okay. Now, as an example, if you look on the bottom of the screen, we're going to start off with the for this, as far as what are the, we're going to use this example as far as the business administrators. Okay. What are the skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup? You see this on the bottom of the screen. What are the skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup? So you can tell just by looking at that our audience, as far as who we're going to be conducting our interviews with, they're going to be business administrators. Okay, and what is he we're trying to get them to find out from them is the skills that they need to do what? To establish a small IT business startup. Okay, so that's going to be our research question. Now, what I want you to pay particular attention to is everything in green on that screen. Okay, now that's going to be the key thing you're going to take away from the research question as we now start looking at the research problem. Next. Now, this is going to be the research problem sentence. Now, of course, the research problem is going to be much bigger than this, but this is the sentence that you should be using as far as when you first start off writing about this, whatever the problem is. You should start it off to educate your reader that the problem to be addressed in the proposed study are the skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business, and then some type of evidence have not been identified in accordance with Green 2014, okay, for this particular example. See, because even when you're working on your problem sentence, remember, whatever your research problem is, it can't just be something that you think is a problem. It's going to be supported by literature. So you're going to find some author to then be able to substantiate this as being a problem as well. Okay? So, and again, what are we going to be studying? The skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup for this particular example. All right. We've now done the research question, and we've now looked at the research problem sentence. Now let's look at the research purpose sentence. For the research purpose sentence, we would start off with the purpose of the proposed qualitative study is to explore the skills business administrators need to to establish a small IT business startup. You see how all that in the green is being carried from the research question to the problem sentence to now the purpose sentence. The exact same thing. Therefore, we have complete alignment with all three of those components. The last piece we need to align will be the title. Therefore, you can already imagine what the title is going to be. The dissertation title will end up being Skills Business Administrators Need to Establish a Small IT Business Startup. Or it could have been, it's okay to move the words around a little bit as long as you're saying the same thing. Establishing a small IT business startup, skills needed by business administrators. Okay? Now, all that I've just shown you was a qualitative example. Now we're going to pull it all together on one screen where you can see all of it at one time. Here's your qualitative example. We started off with the problem to be addressed in the proposed study is and then here's the evidence, the support it, is since 1980, more than 50% of small IT business startups fail in the first 5 years because the skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup have not been established in accordance with Green 2014. Okay? So again, you've got to have supporting evidence for that problem statement in order for it to be relevant. Now, and again, the context of the problem, as you can see, is again what's in blue. Since 1980, more than 50% of small IT business startups fail in the first 5 years. Now, according to the author. So now that's what drove us into this. Next, what we're going to be studying is going to be the skills business IT administrators need to establish a small IT business startup. And knowing that, we now can go ahead and again come up with the purpose sentence. And the purpose sentence is, the purpose of this proposed qualitative exploratory study is to explore exactly what we had in green. The skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup. The research question, what are the skills business administrators need to establish a small IT business startup? Now, with this, we have perfect alignment because we're saying the same thing as far as the problem sentence, the purpose sentence, the research question, and then finally the title. We're not straying away from where we're going with this research. So that's why, again, I had you start off with the research question because it's the easiest, because that's going to be the main driver as far as what it is that we're trying to do our research on. Now, with that being a qualitative example, and without having to regress and go over each one of those components again, I will now show you a quantitative example. Same concept. Look at what's in red on this particular example. And you see how it flows in each, the problem, the purpose, the research question, the title. The exact same logic that we use for our qualitative example, except for this one, we're talking about the relationships between a product's programming language and customer satisfaction. All right? And also you'll notice again, as you recall, and as you're fully aware, with a research question for a quantitative study, you'll have both the hypothesis and the null hypothesis, and they're nothing more than antithesis of each other. As far as for this example, is a correlation does not exist between a product's programming language and customer satisfaction, and then a correlation does exist between a product's programming language and a customer satisfaction, as far as for this example that we're using here. Okay? So again, my name is Dr. James Webb, and I hope this has been a benefit to you. All right, thank you.